Alright, everybody, it's time for Bleach 640.
Bleach. So, for my first question to you, since when is this a chapter of Bleach, or is this the Grinch Who Stole Christmas? Because I could have sworn Mayori's heart grew 3 sizes today.
Mm.
Because he actually sort of showed compassion.
Yeah?
And feelings for someone.
It's not the only thing that grew 3 sizes when he got saved. I'll tell you that much.
No. You're assuming he has one.
I'm sure he has multiple.
Oh, God. Well, the current Nemu is number 7, so I'm guessing he has at least 7.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's kind of odd, but thankfully it wasn't the end of the fight. I mean, it would have been a little too easy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sit there and think about it, how many times in anime, manga, games, or pretty much any form of media where does swallowing your opponent actually work?
Not too often.
Especially when it's a bad guy swallowing a good guy, or a good guy trying to swallow a bad guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the only time the bad guys get to eat the good guys is when it's fodder characters.
Yeah, like Majin Buu or something.
Majin Buu gets to, or is important to the story. Like, he got to keep half the Z fighters because they can't be there, so that way it seems more desperate and is more personal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very rare that actually works, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And he's back and stronger than ever, or at least showing more of his power.
Mm-hmm.
And as Mayuri points out, he seems to be getting smarter in terms of especially in particular his speech pattern.
Right.
So is he just slowly getting smarter, or is there something more to it?
I don't know, but it's food for thought for now, I guess.
And then there's that whole thing about, at the beginning where it's like, I remember, the name you gave me the day I was born or something, and we find out it's Nemu, and I'm like, wait, what? Is there a secret history behind Nemu and Mayuri, and is that something we're going to actually go into?
I suppose so.
Is it possible that she's not just some being that he created, that it's possible she might have had a past sort of some sort of relationship in the past, whether it be a work relationship or a romantic relationship, or God forbid, and this is the creepiest one, I think, the theory that possibly she's his daughter. Like a clone of his daughter or something.
Maybe.
Like, it's like, what? Clone is, like, because if he was like, it's maybe a clone of the daughter, clone of a lover or wife or something, I'm like, are you telling me that there is actually a woman out there that's not one of his science experiments that would actually be willing to get with this man?
Yeah. I don't know if it was willing, but...
Yeah, and in one theory, they had produced that relationship would have produced a child. So it's like, what? Mayuri doesn't have those type of emotions. I mean, the only way I could see him having a child is if he was just doing it just for experimentation purposes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or for an experiment. Oh, let's see what would happen if I do this or that. Or it's like, what? But it definitely seems like there's something between them.
Yeah.
And we're going to possibly find out soon in the next chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please, Kubo, make him more interesting. Please. He's not that interesting right now, so...
Not that interesting?
No. It's just boring at this point.
So, the next question we have to divulges now that Pernita has pretty much bested his Mayuri's trump card. What's going to happen next? What can Mayuri do now? Is he going to pull out another medicine to try and put on, or potion or whatever, to try and put up Pernita so that way it's helps him to win?
Uh,
There's even a crazy theory going around that because since Mayuri lost his left arm, that he might try and defeat the Pernida and then attach Pernida to himself and make that his new left arm.
oh boy, wouldn't that be special?
That would make him even more OP.
Um,
But I don't know how he would be even able to begin to do that.
it's Maori, I guess.
But I mean, then again, Pernida thinks it's always been a Quincy, so is it possible that this is that Pernida is actually a Quincy, and that it's just a Quincy that is inhabited by the left arm of the Soul King?
Either that or the Soul King embodies Quincy Hollow, Soul Reaper, and human.
Possible. That's what I would think.
And that particular arm embodied Quincy, and the other arm embodied Soul Reaper. So the other two
Like I
limbs
said,
should.
that's still.
Yeah.
Well, that's remember we said our theory was that
Mhm.
Quincy's were gonna have one. Soul Reapers had one. We thought the Quincy's would probably have one. We thought the Hollows would probably have one, and that a human would have one.
Mm-hmm.
So as to where the Hollow and where the human one is, if that's the case, in terms of the legs, who knows?
Right.
In terms of humans, the most likely candidate is Ichigo, just
Of
because
course.
he's the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Ichigo for some reason gets to I don't know, it just becomes the vessel for the remaining pieces or whatever. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows? As for the Hollow one, my best guess is it's the Hogekyu. Might actually be a piece of the Soul King. It's supposedly it was created by Urahara, but then again, we still don't even know. There's still that possibility floating around that theory that's going around that he might have been involved in helping to separate the pieces in the first place.
Right.
Or should I say create the Soul King, since Soul King was created.
Apparently, yeah.
So it's possible that would still fall under the idea that he created the Hogekyu,
Mm-hmm.
which is a hollow thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it makes some sort of sense when you put it into perspective that when the Soul King dies, that everything falls apart, and the whole thing about the balance of souls was supposed to be, the balance of souls is to remain between all the worlds and stuff like that. So it does make sense again in that regard about one
the
for
balance.
each. So
Yes, and then and if the Hogekyu is one of the legs, guess who's gonna become extremely important again?
oh
Aizen.
yes.
That's why Aizen. Would be a very good reason as to why Aizen's back in the story, is because he actually has within him one of the pieces of the Soul King.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as Ichigo, what could the human one be possessing? I don't know. It could just be something like, oh, it's something that's been hidden in Ichigo all along, and he had to dig deep inside him, which I think would be a load of bull crap.
Of course.
Because there's nothing in the past that has showcased this at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now this could be a wild guess, but it could be in one of Ichigo's. It could be in possibly one of the others, Chad or Hime, even one of the friggin' Fullbringers might have it. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it could be one of the Fullbringers, Chad or Heaney. Any of the important humans might have it.
Yeah.
I mean, so, or it could just be like I said, there's just no way of knowing until Kubo shows us.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, and I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the chapter overall I thought it was definitely an interesting chapter. I thought
Yeah, I
it
thought it
was
was. Yeah.
good, interesting.
Come on.
Where did we cut off?
Uh, you said yeah, it was interesting. So
Uh,
yeah.
did you at least say what you gave it your rating?
No, I'm about to now though.
All right.
So yeah, I also agree that it was interesting. That's my rating as well. It was not too good, not bad, but it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.